And bless your heart. I hope.
Neither is Timmy, your little boy that can't walk and chew bubble gum. He ain't no MJ.
Why is his name got to be Timmy?
Okay, Jimmy, Robert, Bobby, whatever you want to call it, Bo or Josiah.
You're listening to the Church Members Podcast
with your hosts, Brother Jesse Bragg and myself, Caleb Shirley.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Church Members Podcast. You're here with Jesse and Caleb, another episode. Excited about it. We've had some good response to our episodes and getting some views and likes and that type thing. We would like to see more comments. Like to have a little more interaction with everybody and share it, like it, subscribe if you want to. And if you don't, then don't. But we are thankful for the response we've had, and honestly excited about some of the response of the people saying that we've helped them. So
yeah,
we're excited about that. Thank God for it. But today, what are we talking about?
I ain't gonna say we struggled this week deciding what to talk about, but we didn't really know till today. I'm trying to come up
kind
with
of a last minute. Yeah,
this was clutch, but it's near and dear to our hearts. And
pretty passionate about this topic.
It's a very it's pertinent to the day which we live. And it kind of, I will say this, I think it kind of stems or is a branch off of youth ministry. Yeah, it's going to apply to them more than anyone else. But there's an application to parents and adults as well. And so without further ado, the topic of the hour we want to discuss is the topic of sports.
Yep. And I would say that the majority of church members today are affected in some way by sports. Wouldn't you say, parents?
Majority. I ain't going to say
children.
100%. Some of them would have to be dead to care less. My father being one.
But there's a great deal. There's a great deal of people that have a team or have their kid is on a team or they're, they have a favorite team or college team or whatever. So today we want to touch on how it affects sports and how it affects the church and the church member.
Well, right? I want to begin, Jesse, by making a couple statements. Number one, sports are found throughout the writings of Paul. He talks about running a race. He references that as many as 5 times. He talks about training and exercising and discipline, self-control. He compares the Christian life to fighting or boxing and wrestling. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. He's using, so before we get started, I want to make the proclamation that it would be unbiblical to say sports in and of themselves are evil or wicked, because Paul used them to help relate the Christian life and the Christian walk to the believer. And if they were wicked and sinful, innately sinful, okay, if the essence of sports and competition is sinful, Paul wouldn't use them with a positive connection.
Right.
Okay. So we want to begin by saying that, all right, because we're going to make some stands. We're going to make some statements in this podcast that if someone's not careful, they may walk away from saying, well, these guys think athletics is evil. And I'm not going to say that.
Right.
I'm not going to say that. And you don't believe that to be so either.
and I mean, you and I both invest time into
Yes.
sports. I mean, whether it be watching it,
Yes.
our kids,
Let's begin with the history of ours, Jesse. Let's talk a bit, just touch base with our audience about, our involvement. Personally, I was, again, as we dealt with some of this in our testimony podcast, so we probably won't go, whole hog in depth, but raised in a pastor's home, Dad had a standard. I was very much infatuated with athletics, all athletics, but he gave me a standard, and the standard was one sport. You can participate in one sport. My affinity was toward basketball because as a 5-year-old boy, I watched Space Jam.
yes, sir.
Changed my life.
Michael Jordan, by the way.
He's the greatest basketball player of all time. There's no debate.
Yeah.
And anybody that wants to challenge that, you can go challenge somebody else because you're going to waste your breath with us.
Yeah.
Anyways, but I'll never forget being in kindergarten. Our school took a school trip to the movie theater, Summersville Elementary School. Went to the theater there in Campbellsville. We watched Space Jam, and I'll never forget, that
life changed.
It changed my whole perception. Prior to that point, it was all about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Spider-Man and X-Men. And then when I saw that, it's like, wait a minute, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And so Dad, it took, I didn't start playing till I was in the 5th grade. And very behind my peers, but I was so infatuated with it that I caught up pretty quick. By my 6th grade, I made our school all-star team, which was a travel ball team. They would take the best from the intramural, league, make a travel ball team, and then, played middle school. I didn't make the 7th grade team. I made the 8th grade team, and then played my freshman year, and then between my freshman and sophomore year, I made a commitment to the Lord and felt the Lord was telling me I needed to not play, and showed up my sophomore year. I was about 6'5". I could dunk. Freshman year, I couldn't hardly dunk. Showed up dunking, and they were just frothing, because we were a 1A school and desperate for anybody to, that had any potential, and I had potential. And sat out that year and came back my junior and senior years with the right heart for most of it. I will say that, because, and we can touch a little bit more into that. But yeah, Dad had the standard, one sport, and I'm from Kentucky. We bleed blue and we play basketball. And that's kind of my affinity, my experience, with sports. I did play in elementary school a little bitty intramural softball league. They did 1 year. I went and played. It was fun. It only had 2 teams. I mean, it was a joke, but that's pretty much, outside of just playing backyard football, basketball, baseball with the boys. What about you, Bragg?
Played a lot of football. Started, my dad and mom split up when I was young, and so lived with my mom, and she really thought I needed male influence in my life. So she signed me up for the local rec department football, little Pop Warner, whatever, little bitty old league. It was, I think I started when I was 5 or 6, flag football, and then developed into tackle, and played it all the way up through my freshman year, where I got saved and started going to school at New Manna, and didn't quit football because I got saved. I just went to New Manna. They didn't have it. Now, if they'd had it, I'd have been playing it. But
yeah,
when I got there, it was basketball. which I'm not a basketball player, but I was on the team. Played baseball, enjoyed it, loved playing baseball. I probably enjoyed
Did
playing
you?
baseball. Yeah, I enjoyed playing it more than any other sport.
Really? Did not
I
know
was
that.
I had a better talent at football, obviously, but in size and played it longer, but really loved playing baseball
That's
and
awesome.
played first base. Wasn't great at it, just enjoyed it and pitched a little bit, but really just played first base. And man, I played it. I graduated playing basketball and baseball. But football, man, was a big pull for me, and that's kind of what we'll get into here. But
We
I
will.
almost threw everything away just to be able to play more. The thought of never getting to play it again bothered me.
Well, let's
That's
do
all right.
this. Let's be sure to say this, that we are thankful. I enjoyed
Yeah.
it. I wasn't perfect. I didn't do
Oh,
everything the
man.
right way, but
Yeah.
I've got some stories to tell.
Same.
Let me tell you one that I thought would be a good one to tell. Freshman basketball. We're playing at Hart County, and God is my witness. This is a true story. I can find an article and share it, but this is God. You're not going to believe it, but this is a true story. We're going to Hart County. We're freshman basketball league, and freshmen play freshmen in basketball. That's it. It's their own league. Okay. And we show up with 8 players. All right. Total. Me and I ain't going to name them all, but there was 8 of us. And we're getting killed the whole game. All right. Killed. Like no less than 12 points, which in freshman basketball might as well be 20, And we get to the fourth quarter, and by the time we get to the fourth quarter, we've got 5 players left. 3 have fouled out. We're fighting tooth and nail. It's not going well, but we're doing the best we can. It's me and 4 others. I was one of the 5 left. Halfway through the fourth quarter, our best player fouls out. There's 4 of us. It's 4 on 5. When he fouled out, we thought, well, I guess the game's over. Ref says, no, it's you play on. The only way you forfeit is if you have 0 players left. So we're like, okay, we play on. And they didn't know what to do with us. So we start clawing back. And with 2 or 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, I foul out. 3 guys left, all 3 of which did not start. It's our 3 bench players. Are you getting this? They claw back and take the game into overtime. God is my witness. They go into overtime. 2 Chris's and Jordan. They didn't know what to do. Their coach is like 2-3 zone, which was so dumb, but that's what he did. 2-3 zone. Well, we had one of those bench players, one of the Chris's, didn't care, no conscience. That was part of the reason he didn't start, is because if the ball went through his hands, he was going to fire it. And when I tell you he took over that game, dude, he would come across half court and he was in range. And it was like the movie Angels in the Outfield, Bragg.
Yeah.
This kid took over the game, and God is my witness. We beat them in overtime with 3 players left. And when the game ended, their coach walked up to their athletic director and he said, "My letter of resignation will be on your desk in the morning," and walked out of the gym.
Oh,
And dude, you
son.
talk about a party. We went insane on the way home. I wish I could find the article of that. But yeah, dude.
I don't know if that speaks to y'all's talent or just how terrible they were.
Well, they were killing us. It obviously has nothing to do with talent. It's purely like randomness.
Yeah.
We were better than them, but it was, the thing with basketball is you hear this statement about football a lot on any given night, but honestly, football 9.9 times out of 10, the better team wins in football. Now there is chance, but in basketball, you drop more, way more than you would in football. You'll drop a game here or there. I mean, how many teams in college basketball went undefeated? I can only think of one, and that was Indiana. Maybe some UCLA teams did. Bob Knight took one undefeated, but how many football teams have been undefeated? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we just thought we're going to drop this game to this team that we are better than, and by golly, won the game.
I don't have
crazy,
any.
dude.
I don't have any like super like wild. One of the cool things that I kind of hang my football career hat on is the team that I was on is in the county that where we were in West Virginia. It's like they have a football Hall of Fame, and where our team is on that is in that
really?
Hall of Fame. Yeah, I have the newspaper.
Oh wow!
Cut out of that somewhere, and my name's listed in that. But we had a great year that year. It was a bunch of seniors, and I was a freshman, and got there about 3 games into the season. Transferred up there from North Carolina, and we just had an awesome year that year. Just state playoffs, finished in the semifinals, and it was a lot of fun. That was two of the games that we won to get us closer into the state playoff, and then one of them getting us in was a last second field goal type situation.
Oh wow!
3-point which is fun.
Oh yeah, dude.
And we were in West Virginia, went into extended season, playoff season. I remember it being really, really cold that year, a lot of snow. And we had practice one day, and it was like 10 below. And we had icicles hanging off of our eyebrows. And
this
cold.
is West Virginia.
It was cold. Yeah,
it gets cold in West Virginia.
Yeah, and that part that I was living in it was way up there. So, and the team that beat us was the state champs that year. So,
dude, got
to play on some college fields and stuff. It was fun.
This one time I was this would have been my senior year, and I don't even remember who we were playing. I have no recollection, but I'm a tall person, so I was a post player, and I'm standing under the goal, the block area, and our point guard Clint, he was very close with me, like born the same day, grew up a couple minutes away, went to school our whole life together, very close. And Clint was driving, and I'm standing. Our student section is on this end of the court that we're playing on, and Clint's driving, and he jumps to try to lay it up around the rim, and it's chaos under that rim when there's that much traffic. And when he jumps, everybody, your eyes are up. I'm blocking out, which means I'm kind of in a lower stance. And Clint, he jumps, and when it gets to his peak, he gets into me. He's kind of trying to use me to block his shoe gets hung in my shorts. And jerks my shorts plumb to the ground in front of the student section. And I don't even know what's happened until it's happened, because like I say, you're looking up, you're watching the rim, trying to get a rebound. And I'll never forget, I immediately just grabbed my shorts, jerk them up, and I turned to the student section, and they're all losing it. And I just pointed and was like, "You're welcome," and took off running to the other end of the court. And I'll never forget, in the video room, we were watching some tape on that game, and I had forgotten about it. I had forgotten about it. I remember Stanton, this kid he was also in my grade, grew up with him. Stanton he started like he knew it was coming. It was almost like he had already seen it and he got his hands on the tape, and he starts making a scene. And I'm like, he was on the other end of the room, and I'm like, what is and I look, and about that time, boom, there goes my shorts, and the whole team just laughing. And dude, I see it's great. Like those type memories
That's
are
like
wonderful.
Another fellow we know that in Hazard, Kentucky, I won't tell his story, but had the breakaway pants on and went up for a layup and his finger got caught in them
and he didn't have shorts on under them.
Ripped them off, son. They're in his tighty whities.
I mean,
I'm very thankful for my sports experiences growing up. It changed my life, and in that time of my life, I was not a saved person.
Right.
So it gave me some structure. You know, like I said, I had a broken home and stuff, so it gave me structure and discipline that I would not have gotten anywhere else.
And that's something
but I think that's the key to what we're trying to talk about today is hopefully the people we're talking to, and I'm sure that if you're a dad listening or if you're a son, like the idea is to have structure within the home where that's not needed. We should not, and I'm not trying to get into a whole separate thing, but we should not count on ball coaches and teams teaching our children discipline and structure. That's our job.
That's good. That's good.
I should not, put my son on a team so he can learn some discipline and structure when I should be teaching it to him at home.
There's nothing wrong with it helping. A point that we wanted to discuss is the benefit, the help that sports offer. And I do think that it can assist. Let me make that word. Let me use that word, assist. It can assist in helping an individual improve their etiquette as far as their ability to have respect for their leader, being coachable, being a team player, being somebody that has the ability to learn and teach. Because there's a lot of people out there that you are wasting your breath if you try to help them because they legitimately believe that they've got everything figured out. And it's great for a young person specifically, 16, 17, 18-year-old boys think they're ready. And athletics can help them maybe maintain an ability to know I haven't arrived.
Yeah.
I need to improve my craft.
Yeah, I need to get better. Like I'll give an example with my son. So Bo does not play organized sports like basketball or baseball or football. He does jujitsu. And we were at class yesterday, and his coach stopped us on the way out. And he said, Bo, I want to invite you to be on our competition team, which was really cool. He's like, do you want to compete? You want to be on a competition team? Well, Bo, how Bo is. He looks at me, and then he's looking at, and his coach says, look at me. Look in my eyes. I said, I'm talking to you. Don't look at your dad. Don't, he's like, what do you think? And I think it's good for a boy to have another man, not just me, to correct him on some things. It's good. It's good for a man to have someone else teach you some discipline and structure and things like that. Now, at the end of the day, it is my decision. It's not Bo's.
Of course.
However, you
see the benefit of another male figure's leadership.
An authoritative figure Now, this guy's not a spiritual man, but
Right.
in Bo's life, he is a figure of authority.
Of course, superior.
And so Bo needs to learn to
Well, he
because
better.
there's going to be times when you're out in public and you get stopped by a cop. Okay. Well, yeah, but he's not my Sunday school teacher, my pastor. Yeah, but he's authority.
Yes.
Can you submit to authority? And I think being on a team teaches that. We talked about camaraderie too.
Yeah.
Having teammates, man, teammates.
Yeah, dude.
Getting in the trenches together, battling it out, whether it be under a goal or in the red zone or on a wrestling mat, whatever the case may be, going to battle with your friends is beneficial.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
It's beneficial.
It cranks me up. I think about guys that would come at me on that basketball court and you know, there would be boys that I wasn't necessarily close with.
Yeah.
But if you came at me on that court, he was in your teeth.
Yeah.
I mean, it was on. Why? Because that's his teammate. That's my teammate. And so
right. And you might hate there's
cool.
guys you hate each other off the court or off
in
the field.
practice.
But
in
then
practice,
man, you
you're
get, like
all
you
over
said, you get on that field, it's like, wait a minute, we're a team, we're together.
Yep.
And that spills over into life, that spills over into church. It brings a sense of
the important point I think that you mentioned is that you can't put your child into athletics thinking that will create a disciplined individual with good character and good etiquette. Because I've seen that. Those guys I went to school with and their dad, bless their hearts, sports was their God. And we'll get off into that for sure. But their dads were deadbeats. They didn't care about good and right and etiquette. And they thought that athletics would make their son this upstanding, individual in that community. And it would give them clout and it would give them, recognition on and what I've seen it all. I've seen guys that didn't take a single test in high school because they didn't have to.
Yeah.
And it actually created a menace. I mean, it created a sorry good for nothing, because it gave them a hall pass to everything because they were good at a sport. That is terrible. That is terrible.
Yeah.
And so what's important is what you said, that a parent look at their kid and see the benefit of involving themselves in a activity and build some discipline, build some etiquette, learn how to learn. That's a quality that people are losing. People don't know how to learn anymore. And I'll give you another one. Same thing goes for church. If you put your kid in the church youth group, you send them on every youth activity, they go to teen camp, they go to all of it, but you never reinforce that stuff at home, it's not going to be enough. I think about those.
You're preaching now, Bo.
I think about those sons of Eli. Eli's boys became a part of the ministry. They served in the priesthood. Eli's boys was raised in and a part of that. And what happened? Just because they was a part of it and just because they saw it firsthand didn't mean they's going to do it right. And what ultimately happened is they made themselves, the Bible said, vile, because Eli refrained them not.
That's exactly right.
That same principle applies to athletics. Can athletics help? Sure. I wholeheartedly believe that. But if you think they're going to accomplish this task in and of themselves, you're probably gonna. There's no probably about it. You're highly likely gonna see some terrible responses from their involvement, because it's
Well,
not the end all be all to make a upstanding citizen of society. Period.
yeah, and you shouldn't. You would think that teaching them discipline and character going into the sport is going to make them a better athlete. If that's what you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like if
yeah.
that's your goal, not dropping them all, like letting them act like heathens
Yeah, dude.
and then thinking that they don't listen to you at home. So what makes you think because they have a coach
Yeah.
that that's going to transform their mind? And I was going to read this. It's just in some of my reading this week and today. I've been studying, reading the book of Romans, but when I got to thinking about what we were talking about, I'm going to read it to you if that's
What
okay.
you got? Tell me where you at. I want to look at
I'm
it.
in Romans 12.
You're saying it like you feel bad. You're like Romans 12.
Romans 12. But he said, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the
Yeah.
mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God,
Unto God.
which is your reasonable service. Now, a lot of times, boys will sacrifice their body, boys and girls, fully to a sport.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point of like destroying their body.
For
But
sure.
it says, and Paul's saying, I beseech you, I
Yeah.
urge you, I'm begging you. It's not by a command, it's not by physical force. He's begging them. And he's saying, and be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove that what is good and acceptable and perfect will of God. And so what he's saying, and another thing you got to be careful of is verse 3. To
Yeah.
every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly according as God hath dealt to every man
Right.
the measure of faith. And so one of the problems with getting so involved in this life, it is a lifestyle, is
Yeah.
you begin to think, well, my kid is so wonderful at what he does, at his craft,
I'm sorry. I'm
that
sorry.
he has the potential to be
Michael Jordan.
Right. And so, like I said, my son is into jiu-jitsu, and there's some big time like fighters and stuff that we like to watch. And for me to sit there and think that Bo's going to be the next king of jiu-jitsu. Now, he might become very great.
Sure.
Maybe. He's good. He's pretty decent. But for me to focus my entire life into pushing him into this thing that is not beneficial for the kingdom of God
That's it.
is
That's
dangerous.
it. Let me read
It's
you a
dangerous.
verse. 1 Corinthians 9:25. And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. All right. This is referencing athletics. He is this word mastery was a sports related term to become an expert, to become professional.
Mm-hmm.
And it says that you have to that a man that does that he is temperate. He controls every part of his life. You got to control your diet. You got to control your sleep. You got to control everything that you're doing, your hydration, your training, your muscle growth, all of this. And then he said this, now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown.
Yep.
It's going to rot. It's going to decay. It will one day burn. But Paul said, but we an incorruptible.
Yep.
And so we don't want to negate the help that it offers. All right.
It does.
offers entertainment. We are entertained greatly by athletics. I mean, it's a regular basis. We'll maybe share videos and clips of dudes doing things that's amazing. It can help improve a person, and the endearment of it, the camaraderie, the bonding between friends, between family, dad, son, brother, sister, brother. Like there is a bonding that can take place with athletics that is That's fine. It's
Yeah.
beneficial. It's fun. But
And
last-
it pushes a kid to, to do things
challenges.
that he's not like Bo. We put him in a tournament, and man, he was about to vomit. But before his match, he was first time he'd ever done it. But I made him do it because it was something hard. And like you said, we went through that together. I pushed him. He had to get that out there on that mat by himself. No team, no teammates, no coach, just him. And like you said, there are a lot of benefits.
Yeah.
A lot of benefits from it.
The issue that we want to finish the podcast discussing is the hurt that we have observed.
Yeah.
And we have observed a lot of hurt. And I'll say this, Bragg, before we get started. I observed the hurt first in me.
Yeah.
I referenced between my freshman and sophomore year, how that the Lord was dealing with me. It was my God.
Yeah.
If I wasn't playing it, I was talking about it. I was playing it on the GameCube. I was watching it, and being raised in a pastor's home, I've shared this many times with folks. I mean, this is not a joke. I would be in the living room. I would have on ESPN, likely Sports Center. And as my dad passed by, he'd say, "Son, I'm glad to see you're paying your dues to your God today." And he'd walk on out. And it was like, I'm just wanting to enjoy watching some TV, Dad. But the point he was making was valid, which was, I hadn't touched my Bible that day.
Right.
I hadn't said a word to God that whole day. And I had convinced myself that basketball was more important. And if you'd asked me, I'd have been like, no, it's not my God. But the proof's in the pudding.
Right. Yep. Well, and kind of to my story of, me living in North Carolina with Jody and Liz, my aunt and uncle, and I lived with them. I was going to New Manna. And then my senior year, between my junior and senior year, I got that pull of, I'm never going to get to play football again in my life.
Yeah.
And then somehow thinking
that's tough.
Yeah. That was hard for me. And so I almost threw all of that away to go back and play football again because it pulled so strongly. I was almost a casualty of that.
Yeah.
Of being so drawn and pulled by this sport, this thing that was a God over me, that apparently I thought I had committed to the Lord, but apparently I had not, because when it came down to that, and I think it was definitely a pull of the devil to try to, get me out. But thank God I had people in my life that helped pull me back in, pray me back in. But yeah, man, it's very dangerous. And, I'll be honest with you. And I want to say this I want to preface it. What I do and what we do is not for everybody. We've said that before.
Oh yeah.
But I have a conviction I do not want to get my children involved necessarily at least on a secular public school or public rec level of sports. I don't, because especially the county that I live in, like it's a 7-day-a-week thing, man.
It's
like I'll be driving to church on Sunday morning and see teams pulling in to practice at the ball fields. And it is and they have no regard for church or no, and if you're not here, then you're just not part of this team. And I don't want to I don't want to get involved in that. And that's just me.
Right.
And that's not for everybody else. And that may not be for you. I'm not against rec league sports or public school sports, or, we've even tossed around the idea of putting Bo into Christian school wrestling. They have some wrestling teams around here. If you're homeschool, you can be on the Christian school team. But we've tossed that around. But I don't know, man. Uh, I don't want to go down that road, and I may be wrong for that.
What do you mean? I don't agree. I don't think you'd be wrong. I think it would be wrong if you said if you put your kid in public school sports activities, you're in sin, and you're not doing that.
It's a because I just know, man. Like you say, I've lived it. I've lived that.
For us,
and you have too.
Yes, and for us, I have an 8-year-old son, and he just doesn't show any desire. I've asked him on multiple occasions because, as I've mentioned, I enjoy it. It is entertaining to me. I've offered him to play, t-ball and then Little League baseball, and I've offered him to get involved with basketball. And the most that he has ever showed any initiative in or of is playing with me. He played, at school here. He goes to our church's Christian school, and they have recess, and we don't have a lot of students, like 25. They'll play baseball. And last year, as a 7-year-old, he liked that. And he wanted to play with me. And I bought him a little bat, soft baseball and glove. This year, he'd rather, act like they're catching Pokemon. That's who my son is.
Yeah.
And that's, as a parent, I have to reel that in. That's a whole nother topic. But I have not come to the place yet where I feel that I must force any of that on him. If he shows any initiative, let's say he says, Dad, I think I want to try to play basketball this year. Well, okay, we'll play, and I'm going to challenge you to be as good as you can be in that. I'm going to help you. We'll do some practicing. We don't want to go crazy with that and it become God. But we will never let it interfere with a church activity. That is what and where the hurt.
Yep.
So the points that we've got listed here is the causing of apathy.
Yeah.
When you place athletics and the involvement of athletics as a higher priority than church activities, that individual maintains an apathy for the things of God and for the things and the involvement of what the church is doing. And they don't care, because what they care about is what they were trained to care more about.
That's right.
My dad gave me the opportunity when I was 18 years old as a senior in high school and during a Christmas tournament, to miss church on a Sunday. And I did. And it was a terrible mistake. It was as if the Lord said, all right, buddy, if this is what you want, you go ahead. Worst game of my life, was benched. It was awful. After the game, the coach, the assistant coach spoke up, and I'll never forget. He said something along the lines of, some of y'all played today like you wish you wasn't here and you would have been better off staying home. And immediately I thought, I should not be here. I should have been at church today.
Yeah.
And after that moment, I made a decision. I'll never do that again. As a senior during the regional tournament, we made it to the regional tournament, and first round, we played North Hardin, and my coach, he had a practice on that Sunday, and I let him know, if your practice is during church time, I'm not going to be able to make it. And he set that practice at a time where I could go and be there and make it back. And I did. And so, let me just say that. You can you can miss sports activities for church. And in the state of Kentucky, I can't speak for every state, but in the state of Kentucky, by law, they cannot punish you. They cannot punish you. They can add some practice, they can add some running or training so that you catch up, but to point blank bench a kid or tell a kid you can't play because you went to church and missed practice, by law is illegal. And
Yeah,
that was something.
I don't know what it is here. I don't know.
Well, that's something that my dad took the school to task on for other kids, because there was kids being penalized, and Dad went to a board meeting. He showed them the law and was very kind, and they said, yeah, by all means, we do not allow our coaches and staff to punish kids for missing athletics for church activities. And so, you know what that did? It put inside of the kids that at the church I grew up around, it put a priority in us for the things of God.
Yeah.
And for the ones that I was on teams with that wanted to go to the FCA clubs, bless the FCA club's heart. I think the FCA club is a joke, personally. I would go. I would go to their meetings, but I never paid the first club due, because the president and the vice president and the secretary, all these useless titles of this FCA club, everybody in the whole school knew how they was. They was hypocrites. They was wicked and worldly, acting like heathens, and everybody knew it. And y'all are the leaders of a club that claims to be Christian, that don't even know Christ, probably. This is strong statements, but I hate to be so abrasive, but it's a joke. And what they're doing is they're convincing kids that their involvement with athletics is a form of worship to Christ.
Yep.
And you can't prove that with your King James Bible.
No, sir. Well, see, one of the big arguments.
I got a little fleshly there. Please forgive me.
That's okay. One of the big arguments that I've heard is, well, they're committed to the team, and I'm going to teach them that their commitment to the team is important. And my argument is, what about your commitment to this team?
To the church.
To this church that you've been a part of since you were born.
Yep.
How is that commitment to this team? Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, Sunday school, youth outings, teen camp. How is that commitment just null and void because there's another commitment to a ball team? And how dare we as a pastor say anything about it? Say anything. Just say, where were you Wednesday night? Man, you should have been here. You know that, right? You should have been here. Oh, God forbid.
Yeah,
but now a coach can make a kid run laps. And the parent be like, hey, that's what you get. You miss practice. You got to pay the dues. But the pastor says anything about the kid missing church, I'm the bad guy.
You're a bad guy. I'm going to be.
You can't tell I'm getting a little passionate about this thing now.
Do we need to have prayer, brother? We
need to reel it in.
I don't think when they stand at the judgment seat of Christ that Jesus will be like, oh yeah, I get that. You had a ball game. I don't think the Lord Jesus is going to say that.
Yeah.
And it's hard for us to look at it in that context, but in the grand scheme of things, Bragg, is that not the proper context to look at such a
in light of eternity, man? Yeah. Well, okay, so here's the question then. Because a lot of people are going to sit back and a lot of people right now are in defense mode.
And we want you to know we love you.
Listen,
we're for you. We don't want you to hate us. We do. We want this to be your mind because we care.
Yeah.
Paul said, have I become your enemy because I tell you the truth?
Right.
And I don't want to be your enemy.
The question is, though, Okay. What do we do? Do I not ever let my kids play sports? Do I not ever let them be a part of a team? Well, I would say this, okay, and this is going to be bold. If it interferes with church, then no. But now, can you shop around and try to find some form? If you're dead set on your kid playing a sport, can you find something? There's Upward. There's around here. There's something called Upward. There's Christian school leagues. There's private school. Find some. If you're dead set on that and your kid wants to play, find a way that doesn't interfere with church.
If it's purely about just playing, there's plenty of opportunity. But
man.
if it's about glory, self-glory, fame,
yep. Like I just read out of Romans, that thinking more highly of yourself.
You're acting like
a drunk
man.
To give you clout?
It said
your son he's a superstar now.
It said, but to think soberly. That's the counter. So in other words, if you're thinking so highly of yourself, you think that's how drunk men act. That's how drunk men think. They think they can whoop a bear. You know what I'm saying? Right. They think they're invincible. Yeah. And that's how people act and think when they look at themselves like they are the next LeBron James. You ain't. And bless your heart.
Neither is Timmy, your little boy that can't walk and chew bubble gum. He ain't no MJ.
Why is his name got to be Timmy?
Okay, Jimmy, Robert, Bobby, whatever you want to call it, Bo or Josiah.
I would say that sadly, public sports, secular sports involvement has caused far more casualties.
And not to mention the carnality and filth that happens on them buses and stuff.
In the locker room.
And the language that these coaches use.
Yeah, I mean,
these kids.
And I remember when I got back to Greene County after making the decision I was not going to play that year. I'd reached out to my coach, my teammates, and one of the leaders in that school, great man, I love him to death. He pulled me aside. He said, Caleb, he said, don't you think that this team needs your presence? He said, I understand that there's sin that goes on in and around that locker room. See, he thought that purely the reason I was stepping away was because of how wicked the locker room can be. And it can be wicked.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, don't you think they need guys like you in there to try to counteract that? And it's just a poor way to think,
Well, to have one teenage boy, 16, 15, think he can counteract the full football, the spirituality of a bunch of lost kids.
The argument for this is Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
The other side is going to say Tim Tebow. How many Tim Tebows are there? Right. How many legitimate Tim Tebows are there that never cussed? Look, Tim Tebow's not the same flavor as we are, and he played at Florida. But I respect the man.
Yeah,
he deserves some respect. He's never been recorded to be anything but clean in his living. He's testified that he saved himself for his marriage. He never cussed. He would put scripture on everything. But bro, you skipped Sundays to be in the league because guess when they play? Sunday morning and Sunday night, and once a year on Monday and once a year on Thursday, and then the playoffs.
By the way, he's still skipping. He's traveling all over the place doing these shows, and
the Bible is clear about forsaking the assembly and how that's not okay. And so the crowd that wants to bring up Tim Tebow, I want to bring up all the ones I can list. I think about guys like Dwight Howard. You know, Dwight Howard, when he made it to the NBA, he was like a boisterous Christian. But by the end of it, the dude was was
Psycho.
reputably wicked. And I hate to name drop these famous athletes, but so there's a catch-22 to this. And we've went a long time here, Jesse, but I just think we need to talk about this catch-22. We follow these things.
Mm-hmm.
I follow Kentucky athletics.
Some would say that's very hypocritical of us.
Exactly.
Because
like I want my school to have the greatest athletes, and I want my school to be successful. And in order to be successful, these kids have got to devote copious amounts of their time and energy to their craft. And so if someone looked at me and they said to me, how do you reconcile that? I would simply tell them that the people that I have influence on, I am strongly urging them to do it the right way.
Yeah.
And I think that you can. I'm a firm believer that you can.
You absolutely can. I was preaching one night. Bo was probably 6 or 7, 8, somewhere in there. It might have been about 8. I was going to put him in the little football league up the road. And
I remember
that. I had mentioned that. And someone came to me, an older man, and he's like, look, just consider the possibilities and all that comes along with that, Yeah. He's like, what if Bo gets good at it? Okay, what if he does start playing college ball? What if he did? And he's like, you like to hunt and fish. And he's not like arguing with me, telling me that I should never let my son play sports or anything. He's just haven't had this conversation with a younger me who didn't see it this way at the beginning. And he's like, what about, it's going to take away from what you two do together. The two of you. Say you're going hunting. Well, there's a tournament, or there's this, or there's that, and so you just got to be careful. And so the thought was, in my mind, that's not going to be for us, because your kid develops. He wants to become, like you just said, wants to become the best, wants to become good. He wants to perform well. He's going to start spending more time in the weight room and practices and training camps and all this, which takes away from you two,
Yeah.
You want your kid to know how to throw a ball good, take him outside and teach him how to throw a ball good.
Yeah. When I graduated high school, I had some small college offers. Please don't think I'm not claiming that I was some super athlete. I can't stand that. But I had small schools. Kentucky Christian and Asbury. And I said no, because it was not conducive to the trajectory of my ministry and my relationship with my girlfriend at the time, Heather, who's now my wife. And I believe without a doubt is the perfect will of God for me. So I didn't go play organized, small college basketball, but I didn't stop playing basketball. I played all the time. I would play all the time. We'd go over to this church. It had a shorter court, which I loved because I didn't like to run as much, especially now that it was an organized ball and didn't, but I played all the time. And I remember trying to get you to play one time, and that wasn't that long ago. Where was we? Was that in Kentucky?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't have any shoes.
We were in our 30s.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so
we played when you came down here one time.
We played down there one time. I had to go buy some shoes. I bought some Chuck Taylors. Some Kentucky Blue Chuck Taylors. But the point is, you don't have to stop doing something that you enjoy doing. You can still do it. But if it's about the glory that you receive, then you're going to have a hard time settling with playing in a YMCA without, anybody there to watch you.
Mhm.
So I don't know, man. I just the cure.
What's the cure? What do we
the
do?
cure is priorities and mindset. The cure is as long as you can maintain the proper priorities, as long as you can maintain the proper mindset that this is something I enjoy doing that is not innately sinful and that it can't become my God. But if I do it because I enjoy doing it, and I never let it supersede my faith and my relationship with Christ, then there ain't a thing wrong with it.
Yeah.
There ain't a thing wrong with it. And I wholeheartedly believe that. I would strongly encourage parents to sincerely look into, we're American citizens, and the freedom of faith and religion is everything. I would guess that it's not just a state of Kentucky thing. I would guess that every state, especially in the Southeast, would protect an athlete from being penalized for exercising their faith and worship of God by missing an athletic event for a church event. And I encourage you, man, teach that child that.
And you have to be careful, though, to let your baseline be, well, it doesn't affect my walk with the Lord.
Right.
That doesn't need to be the only. Does it affect your church attendance as well?
Yeah.
Is it causing you to miss things?
Well, I just think those two things you mentioned there are
that needs to be
directly related. If it's affecting your faithfulness to church, it's affecting your relationship with Christ.
Yeah, and I've had kids tell me that, I'm good because I'm still reading my Bible and I'm praying. I'm listening online. If I'm not there, I'll go back and listen to the message or whatever.
That's like YouTube trying to watch a recording of fire burning and thinking that it will warm you up.
Yeah. Yeah, you're I saw the fire. Yeah. I watched the fire, but I didn't feel the fire.
If you're an individual, this is a whole nother topic, but if you're an individual that is not physically able to be at church, online correspondence to your church's services is a great blessing. And that is a real deal thing. And I thank God for people that are not able to come, but are faithful to watch our online services. That's a big deal. But to the 16-year-old,
be at church.
You ought to be at church. You are forsaking the assembly. And parents, please, to God, please do these children a benefit by training them to place church and their faith in Christ as a far and exceedingly higher priority than everything else, because there are too many apathetic Christians today because of athletics.
Everything's, Yeah. Well, that's it, guys. It's been another episode of the Church Members Podcast. I mean, who did we make mad? Put it in the comments, man. Comment.
If you didn't like it, let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
If we said anything that you want to take to task with the Bible, let us know.
But please,
we are not infallible. We are not infallible.
Right. And these are just two 35-year-old men's opinion. But I believe we have some Bible to back it up.
And I believe that if you'll take our counsel here, it'll help your children.
Yeah. And we love you. We love your children. We want you to do right. We want us to do right. We want to live right. Follow God. Have a good testimony.
Amen. And go Cats.
Go Dogs. Sick them.
As you wear a West Virginia hat. I love that. Well,
it's not a Mountaineers hat. It's just the state of West Virginia.
It's navy blue and yellow. That's a Mountaineers hat.
It doesn't say Mountaineers.
It
Just-
don't have to.
Just the 304.
It
man.
don't have to. That is a Mountaineers hat. Oh, let me show. I got a hat here made by a company called Old Boy out of Knoxville. This is a Kentucky Wildcats hat. All it has is the silhouette or outline, not silhouette, outline of the state of Kentucky, but that is a Cats hat because it's blue and white. Mountaineer hat.
See y'all next time.
Love you. God bless you. Peace.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Church Members Podcast. We hope that this episode was a blessing to you and that you would like it and subscribe to our channel on whichever platform it is that you are listening in. Thanks again, and God bless.